Hello guys, welcome back to Primetech Automotive YouTube channel. We got here today Ford Ranger. This is PK. Actually it's so this is same procedure for wheel bearing replacement on BT-50 and Ford Ranger from 2012 onwards. So I'm just going to perform a wheel bearing kit change due to a failed wheel bearing and making very bad sound on this car. So here's the sound, and when you're driving it, it's massive whining, and that's the sound. It's a little bit of time-consuming job, guys. So first of all, you remove the wheel, and then remove the brake drum, and I'm just disassembling the brake shoes. So on this car, so you don't need to remove, like, disassemble brake shoes one by one. You can remove once you dislodge the lower spring and the handbrake cable and also the locking pins. You can take both shoes out together. But on here, when I remove it, it's collapsed and fallen apart, but you still can remove it as a unit, as a complete shoe assemblies, like on both sides together. Once you get the shoes out, I'm just showing now. So you need to remove the ABS sensor. Don't forget that you need to remove the ABS sensor and the wheel cylinder and the brake line at the back. So I'm just undoing the brake line. You need 10mm spanner. So once you undo the brake line, so you are just going to remove the wheel cylinder, because you could have leave the wheel cylinder with the back plate, but I removed that because it's for safe, like you don't need unwanted repair costs. So now I'm just removing the ABS sensor. Keep it away from the working area, not to damage to the wiring or anything. And then I'm just undoing the 17mm nuts to remove the back plate and the wheel bearing hub with the axle. So the earlier Rangers and BT-50s, you need to remove the diff coupling, so the back plate of the diff, to release a lock on the edge of the axle. But the later models, you don't need to remove the diff carrier or the backing plate or anything. You can just, once you undo the brake shoes and backing plate here, you can take the whole axle assembly out like this. The main part is done, guys. So the axle assembly is out from the actual diff carrier, like the diff housing. So that's the seal I'm just going to replace. So if you look at here, it has the excessive play. All the bearing rollers were worn out. This is the tricky part, guys. So this ABS toner ring is very expensive. I checked the prices with the Ford Australia. It was about $400, and you can find aftermarket one about $200. So I try my best to remove the wheel bearing without damaging the ABS toner ring. So here's a trick I use. I heated up the ABS ring with the butane torch, and then it's called castle nut. So I'm just undoing the castle nut using the castle nut to push the ABS toner ring towards the removing side. But you still need to use the uh, heat gun because it was press fitted. I mean, it was very tight in the area. So one more advice: do not hit to the ring. Do not damage the ring because it's an expensive part. And also the bearing kit doesn't come with this ring. So I took all the castle nut all the way out, but still the toner ring did not come out. So I used the bearing puller and my hydraulic press to pull the ABS toner ring out from the axle. And also, I'm going to tell you guys, so I use the same procedure with the bearing puller to remove the hub, the actual hub housing out from the axle as well. Here we are just pressing the axle downwards. The bearing holder, the bearing puller holding the ABS toner ring, but not the ring. I just put the puller to the castle nut, so that helps not to damage the ABS ring. So here you go, safely removed, and then that's the lock plate. So this is the bearing hub casing. So I use the bearing puller to remove that one too. That, remember guys, that ring under the bearing, don't forget that one. So that's the critical part. So on this hub housing, the hub collar is damaged because of the failed bearing and it had excessive play. I'm just removing the outer hub seal. It's called grease seal. So when you push that grease seal out, you can remove the bearing outer sleeve and the grease seal out together. That's the old bearing outer sleeve. So once you give it a good clean, so I'm gonna install the bearing outer seal, the grease seal. So that's the correct way. You can either use a bigger socket. So I found one of the bigger socket is the exact diameter of the seal. So carefully fit the seal. This is how it is. And also I'm just installing the new bearing outer sleeve. Just making sure whether the sleeve is in properly into the position. The sleeve goes to the last point and stops. So I use this tool here. It's very handy to have when you grease in the bearing. So just install the bearing in and press the top sleeve, so that helps to grease the bearing easily. Less mess, I assume, or I should say just less mess using this tool. Alright guys, so to keep the bearing is ready to install. Now I'm just removing the inner hub seal. That's a oil seal which prevent the oil coming out through that seal. So then I carefully install that seal too in the correct size. Again, you can use a proper diameter socket or a spacer or something to install that seal. So the bearings and seal installation is pretty much done. So I'm just lining up the backing plate and now inserting the bearing hub. Guys, this sleeve, don't forget that that's the main role of the bearing. So if you don't put that seal, so the ring in, you are over stressing the bearing and the hub is going to stay tight. So that ring is very important. We just install the inner bearing. It's a bit of mess job, guys, so because it's grease everywhere. So, but it's pretty fun to do this job. So here I'm not going to use the press or something, the hydraulic press or anything. I'm just going to use all bearing and just hit the bearing inner sleeve. Do not hit the outer sleeve of the bearing, that you will damage the bearing rollers. So I just hit the inner sleeve and making sure it's all the way in. And just turning the hub and making sure it's not tight. And this is the secondary lock, guys. Straighten up. Inserting that lock into the place. I'm just trying to show all the important steps on this video, so if anyone doing their own, it's easier. Just installing the castle nut now. There's another name it's called, it's a locking nut, castle nut. So once you install it, so tight it to the last position. I don't have any special tool to install it, so I just use my screwdriver and the hammer. And then the next step is I'm going to install the ABS toner ring by using the hydraulic press. So I insert the ABS toner ring and use my bushing installing tools, put into the through the axle because I don't have proper tool, but this way make my life easier. So carefully press it without giving too much thrust, too much stress to the ABS ring. Make sure you fit it the right way, not upside down. Here it is, guys. It's all the way in. Look how many sleeves I use for that. All right, guys. So I'm gonna lock the castle nut, which is the lock nut, by bend that locking plate. So there are three places. So I could line up out of four places. I could line up three locks. So here's the gasket, and there's the o-ring as well. If it is damaged, you can replace it, but the bearing kit I bought, it didn't come with the o-ring or gasket. Then I reuse it. So insert the axle shaft carefully without hitting the oil seal. Just turn carefully and you will feel the inner sleeves goes into the differential carrier, which is the planetary gear set, and then line the holes behind the backing plate and push that in. So there you go. That's easy. It's pretty much done, guys. So I'm just installing all the nuts and bolts, ABS rings back together. So I'm going to torque those nuts to 60 Newton meters. I may be wrong with the torque specs, but I found that 60 Newton meter on one of the websites. So it's 17 mil nut. So I felt that that's the proper torque. So just installing the wheel cylinder. One tip, guys. So insert the wheel cylinder before tightening it. Loose fit the brake pipe, then you won't damage or you won't cross thread the brake hose. Then tight the wheel cylinder. So now I'm just installing the ABS sensor. There's a bit of grease come out, so I'm just cleaning that before I install the ABS sensor. So I prepared the brake shoe kit on the bench. As I mentioned earlier, you can fit the whole shoe kit together without fitting one by one. That save your time. So when you installing this, so do not press the wheel cylinder pistons too much, it will pop out. So just put the handbrake cable. That's all. So I'm just putting the shoe lock, and then once I put the drum back in, um, that's it pretty much, guys. Then I had to do the brake bleed because of the wheel cylinder removal, and then I test drove the car. The noise was gone. So the on this car, so I end up with replacing both rear wheel bearings. So I did this the right side, so I did the same procedure onto the left side. That's it, guys. So the job is done. Turn the wheels, no noise. Thank you very much for watching. Keep in touch with my channel. Check for my other videos. Hope this video helps someone who does their self to or fix their cars themselves. Like and share my videos. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, guys.